From the moment a young horse steps up to the starting gate, the goal is to make it to the winner's circle. For the best horses, success follows success, eventually leading to stakes races with much tougher competition. And with tougher competition comes a bigger payout. But the pinnacle of success comes not with just a bigger paycheck. It also comes with exclusive naming rights. Specifically, the best of the best have stake races named in their honor. One of the prestigious named stakes races in West Virginia is the Cavada, in which the best fillies from across the state compete on Breeders' Classics night. Cavada raced at tracks all across the country, and as a female won the West Virginia Breeders' Classics in 1995. Overall, Cavada crossed the finish line first 11 times and was in the top 3 in 30 of her 49 starts. West Virginia star Anna's Bandit won the most recent edition of the Cavada at the 2019 Breeders' Classics. Let's take a look at that race.
And they're off in the Cavada Breeders' Classic. It was a solid dispatch for Anna's Bandit, but she'll take up her place in mid-pack as they speed off for the lead, led by Prime Lime, with Nelly's Ford and Sia Manana sitting in third. Lies and Scandals at the rail is in fourth. Anna's Bandit tucked in at the inside. She's in fifth inside of La Medaglia de Oro. Then comes Made It Out of Harlan, and Groom to Rock is the back marker here, a dozen lengths off of the speed of Prime Lime, who pours on the speed. 22-4 for a solid first quarter. Prime Lime skimpers 2 lengths clear from Nelly's Ford, then Lies and Scandals and Sia Manana. Anna's Bandit has been extricated from the rail and moves up menacingly 3 wide. She's coming after the leaders right now with 3 furlongs left to go. Then comes La Medaglia de Oro, followed by Made It Out of Harlan and Groom to Rock. Prime Lime runs the point. Nelly's Ford. Here's Anna's Bandit. Anna's Bandit with effortless strides ambles up alongside of the pacemaker Prime Lime and takes the lead. A quarter of a mile from home, the favorite Anna's Bandit takes over. Prime Lime and now Sia Manana set down on the far outside. She'll try to chase down this heavy favorite Anna's Bandit, who's put to fierce pressure a furlong from home. Anna's Bandit in front, and she's pulling away now by 3 from Sia Manana and Lies and Scandals, but it's all Anna's Bandit. She captures the Cavada with breathtaking ease. The X-Man celebrates it.
A recent addition to the named stake races is Russell Road. Russell Road was a West Virginia legend, competing in 41 stakes races, winning 31 of his 62 total starts and earning over $2 million in his illustrious career. The race named after him takes place on the highest paying West Virginia race day of the year, the Charlestown Classic. The 2020 Charlestown Classic was postponed due to the coronavirus epidemic, but 2019's winner was a Maryland bred named Clubman. Let's take a look.
And they're off in the Russell Road. Good start on the outside for Wildwood Dancer. Cool Arrow is also ridden for speed, and Line Judge in between those two. The West Virginia bred Concord fast away in fourth. Then comes Clubman, just inside of Donji, who's off the pace today, and the early trailer is the late-running Ballavor. So they race into the clubhouse turn, being led by a past Robert Hilton Memorial winner. Cool Arrow is just in front of Wildwood Dancer. They ensure a swift pace and open up by 3 on Concord Fast and Line Judge, who run along in third and fourth. The opening quarter was quick, 23 seconds flat, and it's a gap of 5 lengths back to Clubman, racing just in front of Donji, and Ballavor still at the back, has to be a dozen lengths away from Cool Arrow, who's 3 parts of a length in front of Wildwood Dancer, trying to keep up now but losing ground. Concord Fast underway inside of Line Judge, the half in 46 seconds flat. There goes Clubman, he's up into fifth. Then comes Donji, and Ballavor yet to be unleashed from the back. Cool Arrow shows the way into the far turn. Wildwood Dancer still right there with him within striking range. Concord Fast, and now Clubman is threading his way through horses. Clubman coming with a 3-wide blitz. He's 2 lengths away with a furlong to go in the Russell Road. Cool Arrow is desperate. Here comes Clubman up alongside of him. Clubman down the center of the racetrack under the X-Man Xavier Perez, and they take the lead. It's Clubman to take the Russell Road by a length over Cool Arrow.
Good afternoon and welcome to Horsepower, the show where 4 legs always beats 2. I'm your host, Jeff Gallay, and this afternoon we will be taking a look at West Virginia stakes races. The Confucius Say Stakes, named after one of the most physically imposing specimens ever to place a hoof on the Charlestown Races oval. Confucius Say was owned by O'Sullivan Farms, trained predominantly throughout his career by George Yetzuk. This 17-hand tall gelding was a winner of $1 million. He also, in his illustrious career, won the West Virginia Thoroughbred Breeders' Classic a total of 3 times. Certainly apropos that a race would be named after this horse, Confucius Say.
And they're off in the Confucius Say. Penguin Power wastes no time, and Arnaldo Bocachica guns him up to take the lead, and he crosses right over to the rail. Opera Knight, his stablemate, is going to try to keep Run Into Love Ya pinned down on the rail. We'll see how he responds. North Atlantic now moves up and makes Runco 1, 3, 4 into that clubhouse turn in VIP tickets at the back. Bocachica just took a look around to spy Run Into Love Ya. He sees him currently in 4th position as Runco goes 1, 2, 3 towards the backstretch. The first quarter in a very manageable 23-2. Penguin Power's in front with Opera Knight and North Atlantic. Jeff Runco has Run Into Love Ya pinned in and surrounded on all sides. The Gray Rockets in 4th and 2 lengths from the top. Then comes VIP Ticket. He's the trailer with 3 furlongs left to go. Penguin Power, Opera Knight, North Atlantic. Now VIP Ticket takes 4th from Run Into Love Ya, who's 5th and 2 lengths away from the top spot. Run Into Love Ya last heading into the far turn. Penguin Power, Opera Knight, North Atlantic, VIP Ticket, and Run Into Love Ya still looking for racing room. He's going to need to come through along the inside if good enough. But Penguin Power's had things his own way, and a lot of help behind him. Penguin Power turns for home in front by 3. North Atlantic, Opera Knight, Run Into Love Ya finally gets through on the rail, but it's too late. Penguin Power has gone for home, and Penguin Power powers home in the Confucius Say. He wins it geared down. A confident Arnaldo Bocachica celebrates as he wins with Penguin Power by 4. From North Atlantic, VIP Ticket, then Opera Knight and Run Into Love Ya checks in 5th. Final time 125 flat.
Recent edition of the Confucius Say Stakes went to Penguin Power. If you are a devotee of the Charlestown Races and Slots, then you certainly know Penguin Power, a winner of 11 of 14 lifetime races. What I find peculiar about Penguin Power is the fact that he's a chestnut. And as we see covering the races at the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races, Penguin Power is an abnormality in comparison to most of the gray and roan horses that Fiberson throws. Penguin Power, as we just alluded to, is a son of Fiberson. He is the most prolific sire in my history covering the Charlestown Races and Slots. Penguin Power is speed, stamina. He has everything you could conceivably want for owner David Rame, trainer Jeff Runco, Arnaldo Bocachica, the regular rider on Penguin Power, and last time out, the Confucius Say Stakes was absolutely a phenomenal race. He used his prolific speed to go right to the front, trapped last year's co-champion horse of the year, Run Into Love Ya, down along the inside, who really was unable to mount a threat after that. He seemed to be discouraged by Penguin Power's alacrity, and I think possibly those people that are in the know foresee Penguin Power as a future force in West Virginia racing, possibly enough to challenge Run Into Love Ya. Penguin Power will take his chances maybe at an increased distance in the near future. 7 furlongs or 7/8 of a mile appears to be his forte right now, but I could very easily see him stretching that speed over a distance of ground. The next stake race we're going to showcase is the Coin Collector Stakes. Anyone familiar with the Charlestown Races and Slots and John Casey would know Coin Collector. He probably should have been the horse that the state's signature song Country Roads was named after, as he made 29 starts away from Charlestown in an era that wasn't very fashionable. He competed at tracks throughout the Mid-Atlantic region as Monmouth Park, Pimlico. He went to Saratoga. He also competed in Delaware. This is a horse that have van will travel. Coin Collector amassed over $300,000 in earnings in a time that money meant a lot more than inflated purses of today. He was known for his versatility, winning at distances of 4.5 furlongs all the way up to 1 1/8 miles. And speaking of 1 1/8 miles, he was a 2-time winner of the coveted West Virginia Breeders' Classics, owned and trained by John Casey, who is well known for his training acumen, as well as being one of the preeminent blacksmiths on the West Virginia circuit.
Second choice at 2-1 with Hypothesis. Last one in, Swing Batter. Goes in. They're in the gate. And they're off. In the Coin Collector, and Hypothesis breaks on top tonight. Fancy Castle, though, moves up to his outside, and Chief Randall holds his spot at the rail. Then comes My Walk to Freedom to the outside. Swing Batter, and the favorite Bright Dawn is at the back of this compact six-pack. Throw a blanket over this field. 2.5 lengths would cover them as they dash up the backstretch, led by Fancy Castle. Here's Hypothesis, and here's Bright Dawn. The three favorites sort themselves out into the far turn. Hypothesis, a narrow lead, but Bright Dawn right alongside of him through a 22-2 first quarter. Fancy Castle going to get the shuffle back to third. Then comes My Walk to Freedom outside. Swing Batter and Chief Randall, but in the meantime, Bright Dawn has gone from last to first and takes off on the lead. He opens up by 3. Hypothesis left reeling back in second, and Bright Dawn levels out under J.D. Acosta, and he destroys this field in the Coin Collector. He won it by 3.5 from Hypothesis and close for third between Fancy Castle and Chief Randall. Final time 51-3.
Bright Dawn captured the Coin Collector Stakes in fine fashion for a gentleman that we know very well here in West Virginia, Ferris Allen, or Albert Ferris Allen, as his name goes. He started his career here in West Virginia, predominantly was on the Charlestown and Shenandoah Downs backstretch. Good trainer, has stood the test of time and has definitely performed well on the Maryland circuit over the last 20 to 25 years. Bright Dawn, one of the more imposing physical specimens I've seen. Very good looking young horse, still a colt. I actually had the opportunity to talk with rider J.D. Acosta a little bit after the race, and J.D. said that this horse seemed to be frustrated early in the running of the race until he got into a little bit of a shoving match with another horse in the race. And I guess maybe the stud in him came out and he pushed back. He pushed back in a hard way, circling the field on the turn, going to the front at the top of the stretch and prevailing by a handy 2-length margin. This horse is by It's My Lucky Day, and it certainly was for him capturing the recent edition of the Coin Collector Stakes. This horse is bred by longtime West Virginia breeder Hector Alcalde, and I expect good things to come from this horse. However, he did have a little bit of a faux pas in Delaware Park where he finished second and third, but after perusing the handicapping and the style up there, he ran 2 exceptional races in very fast time against very solid company. I propose that Bright Dawn will be a very tough force to reckon with in the near future in any local restricted bred races. The Fancy Buckle Stakes was named after a mare that certainly put Tim and Judy Grams on the map. This filly won 9 of 17 lifetime starts, amassing $278,000 in earnings. Speed was her forte. One of the better looking horses that you'll ever see step foot on a racetrack. Stout, had the appearance more of a male than a female. Fancy Buckles was a daughter of multi-dimensional West Virginia standout My Boy Adam, who, as we all know, My Boy Adam stood at Taylor Mountain Farm for Mr. James W. Casey. She recorded wins in the Cacapen Handicap, the Wild and Wonderful Stakes, the Ruth C. Funkhauser, and Sadie Hawkins Stakes in her brilliant career.
And they're off in the Fancy Buckles. Twirling Owen breaks on top, but Remy's Rocket sticks right with her now. Twirling Owen steps on the gas and tries to cross over. She opens up by 2 on Remy's Rocket. Nellie's Ford and Unikoi, the sisters, are third and fourth. Then to the outside comes Manarola in fifth, just outside of Summer Frock. Lil Linder's at the rail and off the pace, and CR Case's Legacy is the trailer. Twirling Owen tears into the far turn, 21-4. She flashes a first quarter, and she's in front by 4 from Remy's Rocket and Nellie's Ford. Then Unikoi, she's running along at the inside in fourth, followed by Manarola. CR Case's Legacy getting underway outside of Summer Frock, and Lil Linder a furlong from home. It's still Twirling Owen in front. She's still 4 lengths to the good over Remy's Rocket. Nellie's Ford and Manarola late on the scene. Twirling Owen still in front. Here's Remy's Rocket and Manarola, but Twirling Owen doubles up in the Fancy Buckle. She wins it by 3 from Remy's Rocket, Manarola, and Nellie's Ford in 52-4.
June 5th, 2020. We had a division of the Fancy Buckle Stakes go postward, and the winner that night was Twirling Owen, a horse that has certainly tested tougher waters. This horse has raced in Kentucky and in Maryland and has faced some stiff competition, was glad to get back to the home of her birthplace and just a dominating winner in the Fancy Buckle Stakes. This horse is a very attractive individual, owned, fortunately, by our Charlestown HBPA president, James F. Miller, trained by Anthony Ferrier. Anthony Ferrier has stalls on the grounds as he recently made the transition to split his stable and move some horses here locally, as he still carries a very strong string of horses in Maryland. Good trainer, good looking horse, good connections. This horse I expect a lot from in the near future, especially the fact when you look at this horse in 5 out of 9 races has been successful here. 4 out of 5 races has been successful here over the local surface. One of the stakes we're covering here today is the It's Been Too Long Stakes, winner of her first 8 of 9 career races. It's Been Too Long was well noted for her heart and desire, competing for legendary West Virginia breeder James W. Casey at his farm, Taylor Mountain. In a brief career, she accounted for the Ruth Funkhauser Stakes, the Sadie Hawkins Stakes, the prestigious Cavada Stakes on West Virginia Breeders' Classics Night, the Roger Van Hooser Memorial, bred by Mr. Casey at his Taylor Mountain farm. It's Been Too Long.
And they're off in the It's Been Too Long. Twirling Owen tears out of there and opens up by 2. Gandhi's Castle moves up the inside. Undeniable touch right there with Manarola in between fillies. Coach Rubes at the rail. Distorted Splendor bound to be bad. Then Q's Song, an angle of attack at the back of the pack. Twirling Owen past the 3/16 pole or 3/8 pole in front by 3 here. Gandhi's Castle on the far outside. Undeniable touch. Coach Rubes at the rail. Then Manarola bound to be bad moving up now. Angle of attack's been caught wide on the racetrack. Then Distorted Splendor and Q's Song opening quarter in 21-4. And Twirling Owen tears around that far turn in front by 5 from Gandhi's Castle and Manarola. Bound to be bad launching a 4-wide assault. Then Undeniable touch. Coach Rube cuts the corner, but Twirling Owen in a race by herself coming to the 16th pole. She's blown this one wide open here past the 16th pole. Twirling Owen, Manarola late on the scene, but Twirling Owen takes the It's Been Too Long by 2 over Manarola. Then came Bound to be Bad and Gandhi's Castle in 52-1.
In all the years that I've covered Charlestown races and slots, one dominant factor is speed. And one horse that possesses dominant speed is Twirling Owen. On May the 23rd, 2020, this horse won the It's Been Too Long Stakes. Another winner for James F. Miller, our president of the Charlestown HBPA. And speaking of the president of the Charlestown HBPA, certainly done a yeoman-like job to get us back to live racing. We certainly were impacted by COVID-19 and continue to be. However, many of the restrictions have been limited as we currently do have live racing. And those fans that were in attendance that night were blessed to see a runner of tremendous stature in Twirling Owen. Trained by Anthony Ferrier, he has continued to dominate locally. This filly is by Twirling Candy out of Daylight's Coming. We expect good things in the near future for a horse that possesses just what you need to win, and that is speed away from the starting gate. The next stakes we'll preview is the It's Only Money Stakes, owned and trained by West Virginia Tim Grams of the West Virginia Classics fame. This was a tough competitor and dedicated sprinter. It's Only Money was bred by Grams and longtime associate Bo Lane. It's Only Money won the Virginia Stallion Stakes and Charlestown Invitational Handicap, recording a whopping Beyer speed figure of 107. This horse really was absolutely helped establish Tim Grams as a force in West Virginia racing.
And they're off. In the It's Only Money, a bobble at the start for Dr. Feelgood, but he recovers and heads out the challenge. Freedom is ringing for the top spot. Hypothesis moves up outside. He's in third. Then comes Last Print, and Aaron's Tap is off the pace tonight as they head up the backstretch. Freedom is ringing, and Dr. Feelgood, he'll have to come through along the inside of his Fiber Son brethren as they dash into the far turn. Dr. Feelgood up to challenge. Freedom is ringing, 21-3. They sizzled the first quarter. Dr. Feelgood's in front of half length here from Freedom is ringing. Aaron's Tap splits horses. Then Hypothesis Hypothesis, and Last Print at the rail. Dr. Feelgood, Darius Thorpe still has a handful. As he comes to the top of the stretch, he sets down the Doctor, and he tries to open up here. A stubborn Freedom is Ringing, still clinging to him in second. Then Hypothesis, Aaron's Tap, and Last Print. Dr. Feelgood still in front from Freedom is Ringing and Hypothesis. Dr. Feelgood, real good. In the It's Only Money, he wins it by 2 from Freedom is Ringing, Hypothesis, and Aaron's Tap in 52 flat.
Very few horses can say they make a house call, but when Dr. Feelgood is in the house, he certainly does that. This could conceivably go down as one of the all-time great 4.5 furlong horses to ever run at Charlestown Races and Slots. You know, we compete over a 3/4 of a mile oval here, so the 4.5 furlong race has definitely been a mainstay over the last 20 years that I've covered the track here, and Dr. Feelgood probably it would be in the top 3 horses that I've ever seen to leave the gate with a sense of purpose and run as hard as he can run. An interesting feature about Dr. Feelgood that many people don't know is that he is a swayback. And you don't see many of those horses at the racetrack, but I was told by many old-timers in the business that swaybacks possess speed, and Dr. Feelgood has that. He is trained by Crystal Pickett, who's done a magnificent job with this gray. He has been ridden by Darius Frosty Thorpe in all of his lifetime wins here, and he is undefeated currently at the distance of 4.5 furlongs. And when you take into consideration all the problems that can happen from leaving the starting gate, to getting bumped, to getting racing luck, to track conditions, to be undefeated at the abbreviated distance of 4.5 furlongs is a testament to a horse was bred here in West Virginia by Francis W. Daniel III and is owned by his mother, Jill. The original Gold Stakes was named after a filly that if you frequent the Charlestown Races and Slots maybe sometime around 20 years ago, you'll remember this daughter of Slavic. She won back-to-back editions of what is the #1 race for fillies and mares in West Virginia, the Cavada, on West Virginia Breeders' Classics night. Original Gold was a stellar racehorse that was campaigned by Ronnie Brown. This horse was bred by Francis Daniel III. Original Gold.
And they're off in the Original Gold. Good start at the rail for Sherwood Lady, and the favorite Anna's Bandit came away beautifully, and now Gerald Almodovar will get her to turn off and sit just off of the leader, Sherwood Lady. Sia Manana and Bridging the Gap flank the leader now as they head into that clubhouse turn. Grace Elizabeth races outside of the heavy favorite Anna's Bandit. Then comes Hell of a Fire and the Casey Duo. At the back, Bees Wild Cork with Cameron Street. Sherwood Lady, Sia Manana, and Bridging the Gap are 3 across the track, and Anna's Bandit is tucked into a neat pocket by Gerald Almodovar, and Grace Elizabeth moves up outside of her. Then comes Hell of a Fire, Bees Wild Cork, and Cameron Street. The first quarter went in 23-3. Sherwood Lady, a 40-1 shot, shows the way. Sia Manana in between. Bridging the Gap is next. Anna's Bandit, Gerald Almodovar, angles her to the forward path and produces her rally here. Just inside of Grace Elizabeth, Bees Wild Cork, Hell of a Fire, and Cameron Street. Here comes the champion, Anna's Bandit, to the collar of Bridging the Gap. Anna's Bandit puts her head in front. Bridging the Gap tries to battle on. Then Grace Elizabeth, Sia Manana gives way. Hell of a Fire from the back. But in the meantime, Anna's Bandit comes to the top of the stretch. She's in front by 2. Bridging the Gap could not stick with her. Then comes Grace Elizabeth and Hell of a Fire. Anna's Bandit comes rolling past the 16th pole, and she's back on her game. Anna's Bandit goes back to back in the Original Gold. She romps home by half a dozen lengths from Hell of a Fire. Then Bees Wild Cork in a photo for 4th. The final time, 1:25-3. The X-Man Xavier Perez handed the keys over to his West Virginia bred Hot Rod for 1 start, and she'll come back $30,000 richer.
We've had some great fillies and mares compete at the Charlestown Races and Slots over the last few years. Noteworthy would be Late Night Powwow. Of course, no one can take the place of Wonder Woman of the Mid-Atlantic, and that is Anna's Bandit. She is shipped in here and just run lights out for her owners, John Robb and Gina Robb. This horse is a monster. Recent winner of the Original Gold Stakes, Anna's Bandit, sat off of what appeared to be a hot pace. Gerald Almodovar subbing for regular rider Xavier Perez. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, Xavier was not allowed to come to the track that night. So Gerald was the recipient of a rocking chair ride aboard this filly to win by over 5 lengths. Winner now approaching $800,000 in earnings. She was the Charlestown Races and Slots co-distaff champion of last year, also co-horse of the year last year. Accolades well deserved. The Connections have done a yeoman-like job with a horse that just brings her A game every single effort. Anna's Bandit, one of my all-time favorites, taking down the original Gold Stakes. Thanks for joining us on Horsepower for our series on stakes races. Tune in next time.
It's a West Virginia classic, the Gulf Tournament, the Gala, and the state's top thoroughbreds vying for the chance to be named West Virginia's best. The West Virginia Breeders' Classics. Breeding, training, racing. A stable of champions. Taylor Mountain Farm is a proud supporter of Horsepower.